Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Experts. Today, I have a beautiful episode with LaTonya talking about the power of prayer. I thought, being that it is the 31st of December, this is a beautiful time to think about our base needs and connecting to a divine something. In this particular interview, we are not talking about anything to do with religion. It's non-denominational, but it's a beautiful way into how each of us can find our something bigger, and through that connection to something divine that we all know exists deeply within our souls, and a need to connect on a high level to something that we love and will protect us. There's lots of beautiful tips in this interview, and it is a beautiful melody to take us into 2023. I am sending you all so much love. I will see you at the end of the interview, or speak to you at the end of the interview. I am sending you big love. So without further ado, let's go into this wonderful interview about the power of prayer, conversations with experts with Hem and LaTonya. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Conversations with Experts. Today, I have LaTonya, who is the founder of Sweet Start Ministries, Inc., a leader in her community, and she is also passionate about love in action. Today, we're going to be talking about the power of prayer. So, hello, LaTonya. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Hello, Hem. Thank you for having me.
So lovely to have you here. It's so good to be talking about the power of prayer, because I think that we are moving into a space now where we kind of need to give our faith and our trust to something, maybe that we have that kind of trust. I think everyone needs that thing, that something that they can rely on and believe in. So what would your take on the power of prayer be? What would your take on how we could move as a people? Actually, before I go on to that, what I do want to say before I go on is this is completely non-denominational here. LaTonya and I are talking about the power of prayer, about the fact that everyone has it available to them. It's not denominational. It's not about religion. I mean, it is, and it can be about religion. So that's not like putting some people out of the picture here. It's about everybody being able to access this very, very powerful process. So yeah, so what I was going to say, LaTonya, was how would you describe the power of prayer? What would you take us through with the journey of words for yourself as to how it comes through for you and what it means for you?
So prayer is, to me, is so powerful because I've seen the prayer work. I've seen prayer change lives. I've seen prayer save lives. Prayer is an intimate conversation with the creator of the world. That's what prayer is to me. It is a conversation that you have with a friend. And most of the conversations that you have with a friend are mostly informal and so relaxed. And so it is pouring out your deepest feelings and emotions to the creator of the world and expecting to have them respond. That's what prayer is to me. Prayer is it's not so formal that you can't do it. Everybody can do it, because to be honest, we all talk to ourselves, right? That comes pretty natural, right? Comes pretty easy. and so if you change that and you know that you are addressing the creator of the world instead of just talking out in the air, it has a powerful feeling to it, because you know that you are not alone when you're speaking, even though in the room it feels like you're alone. Also, when it comes to prayer, you don't actually have to be alone. You could literally be in a room full of people and still have a silent prayer, meaning you're still communicating with the creator of the world about what's going on around you, what's going on in your heart, what situation just happened, and having that peace and knowing that he's right there with you, listening every time. That's what the power of prayer is to me.
Wow. LaTonya, that was beautiful. Oh, I loved it. You took me to a space of such warmth, and I loved it. I loved the intimate conversation with the creator of the world. Now that is gold. That is golden. And it kind of gave me goosebumps because I could feel your intimate connection, your how you fuse and play when access the power of that prayer. I could really feel that. I loved that so much. I mean, more I was pretty taken aback. Normally I'm thinking of my next question, but I was like, I can't think of my next questions because this is so beautiful. I mean, they are wonderful words. And I think if anyone's thinking of moving down this, to just listen to that for a few times so you can really take in what LaTonya said, because it's very powerful. There were such powerful words in there. There was so much kind of melody actually and beauty in there, and that's kind of what it is. And so to me, like, if I was going to say how it was to me, it's about that. It's about the beauty of this world, this beautiful earth beating epicenter, this system that we live on, where the flowers bloom, where there's the sky and there's seas and there's animal life and there's people, and it's connecting to everything, and bringing in Gaia consciousness. And I love the word God, so for me the word God works. I can take that, and I get for some people that can be tricky. In fact, that is going to be my next question to you. What do you say along the lines of that point where some people are still a little bit reticent about that word, about the word for the Father, for the Great Spirit? What do you say to that?
What I would say is God to me. When I just take the word God, it does not have as much weight as if you were to say Elohim, or as if you were to say Jehovah, to call him by the events that he has. So he's a protector, so you call him my protector, you call him my provider, you call him my keeper, my peace giver, the lover of my soul. Those are more meaningful to me because they have more meaning behind them than just saying God. Because okay, you have God and you have gods, so you have the creator of the world, and then you have the lesser gods, if you will. To me, the very intimacy of calling him who he is, that's what it is. It's not just okay, it's God. It's calling him who he is. He is the creator of life. He is the artist of this world. When you say that, it connects you to be more in tune with who he is. He's the great I am. He's a miracle worker. He's a heart changer. When you begin to move into using that language instead of just God, it makes it more personal to you. And so it makes it more personal to me to call him who he is to me.
That was delicious. I loved it. I loved it. And I took something from that myself. I love the protector. I love the idea of having that sage soul energy system that protects me and holds me, and that is there for me when I need that protection. Although, and I did speak to LaTonya before we started this interview, I'm going through a little bit of a thing at the moment myself, and something happened this morning and it made me think, well, the protector's not protecting me. And I felt unheard, and I felt like, what more can I do to access what I need? What more? How can I receive this more? What am I doing incorrectly? Maybe, and maybe it isn't about being incorrect. Maybe it's about how I need to wait and flow and allow it to birth itself. And what do you say, LaTonya, to people who maybe think, well, I keep moving into the power of prayer, I do as much as I can, I keep giving of myself, but I feel like I'm unheard, and I don't feel like there is such a thing as the power of prayer because I don't feel listened to. What would you say to that?
I would say that I've been there. And so I understand exactly what that feels like. It feels it feels like you're speaking into empty air, right? But there is something to me that changes all that, and it's called faith. You know, I don't know if people read the Bible or if they have something that they do read, but that's what I read. Okay. And I know that there has to be faith and patience. And most of the time when we're talking, we're not talking to God, we're talking at God. And imagine if somebody is talking at you. They're not really, it's almost like their heart is saying, I'm not expecting you to respond. I just need to vent to you. And prayer is expecting a response. It is positioning your heart and your mind to convey your deepest feelings, but in expectation of you want to be in a conversation. A conversation is an exchange of two people. To talk at somebody is to expect them not to respond. So if you are talking at the creator of the world and not to him, then maybe there is no response, because you have to change your approach in the way that you're coming.
Yeah. What?
So wait, I was gonna say something
It's like
else.
you're about to say something and then it kind of went and it went away.
So there are times when our Father is silent. Have you ever asked your parent a question and they didn't say anything right away, and you thought they didn't hear you because they didn't respond right away, but they did hear you. They were actually taking in what you were saying to give you the right response. Now we know that our Father, the creator of the world, he already has the response, but sometimes I think he wants us to stop and listen to what we just said. What did you just say? And kind of maybe realize, oh my gosh, like I'm not really talking to him. I'm more like venting to anybody who would hear me, right? And when somebody's talking to you and they're kind of venting and you go to respond and then they keep talking and then you go to respond and they keep talking again, it's kind of like, okay, you just don't want me to say anything. So I think that in the process of prayer and in the move and the flow of prayer, we have to have a mindset that we are going to talk to him, not at him.
Yeah, I love that. And I loved it because you said about patience. And it's that, and I know with my situation, it's about allowing it to be woven, okay? And I love the talking to him rather than at him. But I think actually that kind of probably goes out to all of our conversations, really, in life, maybe in general, because many of us have this, sometimes we want to say and share so much that we forget that the other person's also maybe got something to add or that can bring us some clarity. And that, I suppose, within the power of prayer, there's that same sort of equanimity. It's like it's a relationship, isn't it? It's a relationship between two people. But it's that kind of, so what I'm getting from that patience element is this idea of understanding that if you haven't given that space for it to weed and to birth itself, then it won't happen. It's like, it's that thing, isn't it? People will pray for, I don't know, for example, they live in a way where everything's very, very tightly constricted and contracted. And then, but they're praying to the universe, to source, whatever you want to call it right now, or, to our creator, to our protector. And then they're saying, but I want this. But what they're asking for is, here's where they are. And they're asking for something that's right over here. And their expectation is, can I have it tomorrow? So I think with what you've said, and kind of where I look at this at, is you have patience and you let it be woven. Maybe you'll get more than you expected, or maybe it's just that you need to allow it to birth itself from the ground and, come up like a plant would if you just seeded it. You wouldn't expect a seed the moment you planted it to give you results, would you? You just wouldn't. It wouldn't be how we work. So on that kind of, on that thought process, what do you think to because you were saying about not talking at God, what do you also think to that very high expectation some people may have within the power of prayer? And I know I've been like it in the past myself, so I put my hand up to it. So it's nothing to be kind of ashamed of or anything. It's nothing to worry about, because I think we've all done it to some degree. But so what do you say to that? That sort of such deep need that you do forget that it's also about it's an equal relationship, and you need to contribute to it as well in some way.
I would say that I'm always thinking of situations to relate. I love to relate a situation. And so um if we just met and I asked you to do something for me that was like huge and big, and to you wouldn't expect the person that you're asking to perform this big thing for you, because they don't really know you, right?
Yeah.
No, they don't really know you. The more we build up a relationship, us building a relationship with the Lord, he acts more on on our behalf. um Sometimes the response is quicker. Sometimes you will hear wait, sometimes you will hear no, sometimes you will feel it in your spirit, go ahead, like you get the peace to move forward, or you get the feeling that you should stay. Or that waiting period is generally when you feel like you're not hearing a response. But those responses can't come as fast as you would like for them to come if you have not built a relationship. And to build a relationship is a conversation and an interaction between two people constantly,
Yeah.
not sporadically. And our thing sometimes is going to God sporadically when we need him to respond immediately, and we haven't built a relationship with him. And while he knows us because he created us still, just because it's like a mother and a father, I mean, a mother and a daughter, a father and a son, just because I birthed you, if we are not talking and communicating, and I'm learning who you are and you're learning who I am and all the things, we can't say just because I created you, I birthed you, that we have a relationship, because
Mm.
that doesn't constitute a relationship. That constitute a connection of birth, but not a deep emotional and mental connection. And that is what we need to do when it comes to the creator of the world. Is if you are not hearing him, check your relationship with him and see, do you only go to him when you have a problem, or are you talking to him, and I mean talking to him, not at him, every day, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. How you put that with the kind of, because it is true. Many of us, we hit the ground and that's when we call up, please save me. That's when it comes. And obviously it's like, well, you've been plodding along, ignoring me and ignoring that. So what would you say then to your way? What would you give, say, maybe as steps or advice on how would people start, and what are the baby steps people can take to create this relationship through the power of prayer to whatever they want to, like the protector or the universe or God or universe, whatever works for them, whatever resonates with them? What would you say would be a beautiful way to cultivate that connection, that relationship?
I would say for the creator of the world to just take time, 7 minutes, 5 minutes, and really from your heart communicate. Thank him for being your protector. Thank him for watching over you at night, because we hear all the stories, but it didn't come to you, right? Thank him for providing for you. He's always a provider. Everybody has that story where they didn't think they would have it, and then at the last minute, something happened and they got what they needed, because he's the provider. He's a really, really good father. And so, just as you would want to build a relationship with somebody that you can see, take time, set a goal of 5 minutes, and just set that time to sit and to just be thankful, and to just say to him, I just thank you for being with me. I thank you for hearing me. And then as that goes, maybe take the next step and add 2 minutes to it, and then add another 2 minutes. to where you're increasing your time. Because God wants, I mean, he doesn't dwell in time. Our Father does not dwell in time. He created time, but we do. So setting aside our time, what he gave us, setting it aside for him, and intentionally, that word just came to mind, setting aside the time intentionally to get your heart and your mind aligned with him by talking to him and setting an expectation for him to respond. But here is the key. Listen. We have to listen for his response. And God responds in so many ways. He responds in, you could be hearing, watching a movie, and what you were just, in prayer about or meditation about with the creator of the world, suddenly your answer or what you need came right through that movie, or through a conversation, or through an article that you've read, or even your Bible that you read. Like, listen for his response. And I think that's the other thing. We think that he didn't respond because we just and then we're up and gone. We're not intentionally listening for him to respond to us. So it is very possible that he did respond, but we didn't hear him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't respond with, him, I need you. He's not loud in that regard, right? He's very gentle and he responds, but you have to you have to have your heart and your mind open to receive what it is that he's going to say. So steps would be just that. Be intentional with your time with him. It doesn't have to be a full out hour, start with what's comfortable for you. Have a list of things that you are thankful for, because that'll keep your mind on track. Because sitting sometimes for us, in this microwave world, 7 minutes is a long time. I mean, oh my gosh, that's like a lifetime.
It is very true. And it's interesting because even as you were saying it, because I always say to my meditation students and stuff, I say, look, I know if I say to you go off and meditate for 25 minutes, not if you'll do it. So I always say, look, if you can give me 60 seconds of very focused attention to this, then you can build it up as time goes by, but do what works for you. It is an interesting thing. I got a thought as you were speaking, actually, and it was like how when you said, well, God always answers. Well, and I did want to say something actually before I go on with the whole universe, source, whatever. We can genderize it, genderize as male or female, because I know some people may be feeling a little bit triggered here if we have the word him all the time. And I'm very much anti-label. It's just the way I am as a human, okay? So I understand that. However, it's just to accept on the level of replacing it if you need to, and accepting that from your space. But always knowing this is about you, it's giving to you, and coming always from the beginner's mind, because especially with something like the power of prayer, we need to be open to that beginner's mind and open to the possibilities of what we can achieve from the space of a new understanding, a new birthing, right? But I did want to ask you about, because while you were talking, we were saying about God always answers. So we're always answered by the universe, we're always answered by source, the protector is always there. What about that time though, those times where you get odd hits? I call them odd hits in the fact that a message comes to you or something comes through to you and it's unexpected, you weren't looking for it. You think that's the guidance system you've got, and I know we've talked about this before actually, and you go down that road and suddenly you see it's not right, and then you're wondering why it's been sent to you. Can you maybe speak a little bit to that, because that one's quite a common one?
So for me, I've had those and I thought, man, I thought sure that was the way that I was supposed to go. But I always know that there's a purpose for everything. There's a purpose for everything. Even though you feel like that wasn't the way that you were supposed to go, there was still a purpose for you to be on that path. You may have picked something up along the way, there is still purpose in every movement that you do, right? So it's possible to not hear correctly. It's possible that we could be like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Well, did we really hear correctly? And most of the time, it's, I won't even say most of the time, I'll say sometimes it's our hearing, it's the way we interpret what is coming. Because I had that recently, right? I had the situation where I was just like, oh, should I take this position? And I was in prayer about it for like 2 weeks and back and forth, back and forth. And I finally decided, okay, this is me having peace to take this position, right? And I take the position and I pray that, that I if I have to leave the position, then let it be smooth. Well, I went down that path, and the way that it ended, I thought, maybe I wasn't supposed to be there. Maybe I misinterpreted and thinking that it was the creator of the world telling me this is the way I should go, but it didn't end the way I wanted it to end. I had to think, what did I gain from that experience? Because there is not any experience that you don't gain something from. And I had to think, what did I gain from that experience? And was that the wrong path? Well, I heard somebody tell me that even when you think you're on the wrong path, you're still on the right path, because God maps your life out. The creator of the world has already mapped your life. And so whether you go left or right, you're still going to, your end goal is still going to be the goal, right? It's still going to get you where you are. You're just gaining knowledge. And I think it's just us needing to really change the way we think about the process.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's interesting because I was thinking as you said it, and I was thinking about my situation, and I was thinking about my own interpretation of it. What it actually made me do, it's a particular situation I'm in, and I'd like to change it, okay? It's a very difficult situation to my mind. It is a difficult situation, okay? So I'm just like, I want it over with. Yet I'm kind of plodding very slowly through understanding it. And I keep getting what I'd say growth moments of learning rather than actual movement in terms of what I want. But it's very interesting because this morning, because it kind of came to a head in some ways, and it wasn't really about the thing I thought it was about. It was more about my bravery to ask the questions. I have had in my life very, 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 and I kind of curtail my voice. I don't want to ask. I think it's better not to do it than ask. So I don't ever go down certain roads because I don't want to ask. So I asked, and it didn't reap the results I wanted. And that kind of made me think, well, I'm not really sure the universe or the source even cares. However, now I look at it, and as we have this conversation, actually, I'm seeing it and I'm interpreting it in a really different way. And the interpretation I'm getting now is that actually it took me about 7 weeks to make the call. I get it now. I get it. For me, it was to make the call. It wasn't even about anything else. It was to make the call so that I could start to listen in a different way. So I really do like that, because I think that it is true. It's our interpretation. And also, I'm with you on this, LaTonya. No way are we ever doing the wrong thing. If we're doing it because we're going to learn something. If I learned something, even though it was not what I wanted, because that is the other thing, isn't it? You know this as well as I do. How many of us pray and we're expecting a particular result?
Hey everyone, thank you for watching. I know I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger. The next episode will either be out next week or the week after. It was a beautiful episode, and I want to thank LaTonya from Sweet Start Ministries for joining me. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to wish you an absolutely wonderful new year. I hope 2023 brings you everything that you've ever wished for. And I'm sending you big love. You know where I am if you need any help in coaching, readings or healing. Take care of yourselves. Namaste everyone. Big love. Bye everyone. Bye. Bye.